Hello, my name's Dave Ramsey, Project Officer for the Father of the Bard. The Father of the Bard project was a 2-year project, an initiative by Aberdeenshire Council supported by the Heritage Lottery Fund, which ran from March 2008 to March 2010. The project had a brief to work with people with a range of learning disabilities and had 3 main outcomes. The first outcome was to research the life and times of William Burness, the Father of the Bard, and his origins within Kincardineshire. The second was to produce a range of educational activities for a range of community groups. And the third outcome was to produce a family history map and family tree of the Burns and Burness family in Kincardineshire. It is interesting to note in this scenery today, as we look beyond us to the lands of Lewis Grassic Gibbon and backwards to the family ancestral burial place of Burns and Burness at Glenbervie, that we have scenery here which has hardly changed over a period of 300 years. And here is where the story of William Burness, the father of Robert Burns, began. At Clough-na-Hill in the parish of Dunnottar in Kincardineshire, where our story began. And it was here on the 11th of November 1721 that William Burness, the father of Robert Burns, was born. Perhaps the best way to tell the story of William Burness is through the use of these interpretive panels, which are temporarily housed here in the visitor centre of McPhee's of Glenbervie. It is fitting that within 200 to 300 yards of the very spot on which we stand, that the ancestral graves of Burns and the Burness family can be seen. And that family has been in this area since around 1547. But the story begins in 1721 with William Burness being born at Clough-na-Hill Farm in the parish of Dunnottar, just outside Stonehaven. The political and agricultural factors in these times led to William being trained as a gardener at Inverugie Castle, to offset the poor farming and to ensure that he had a craft and a means of existence. The Jacobite uprising saw the forfeit of the Earl Mareshal's lands, and assumptions were made about the allegiance of the Burness family to the cause. However, on the 9th of May 1748, William Burness received a letter of testimony from 3 lairds in Kincardineshire, which attested to his good character and the fact that he took no part in that wicked rebellion. And with that letter in his hand, he made his way to Edinburgh after parting on the Garvick Hill with his brother Robert. And there in Edinburgh he found work as a gardener on the Hope estate. And after 2 years he moved to Ayrshire, where he took on subsequent posts as gardeners to the wealthy families of that area. And it was in 1756, at the annual Maypole Fair, that he first met Agnes Brown, who was later to become his wife. At this time he had taken on a small lease of land in Alloway and decided to build himself a house for the purpose of ensuring a way of life for himself and his future bride. William and Agnes were married on the 15th of December in 1757. And the old wife's tale stated at the time that he's a fool who marries at Yule, for when the bairn's to bear, the corn's to shear. And we know that then on 1759, on the 25th of January, their first son, Robert Burns, was born to William and Agnes in the cottage in Alloway. In order to ensure an education for the young Robert and his brother, William Burness appointed a tutor called John Murdoch to try and ensure the kind of educational start which William Burness himself had had back in the Mearns. A mix of farming and education was the way of life, and eventually they outgrew their home in Alloway and moved to the lease of a new farm at Mount Oliphant. The business of trying to extract a living from the poor farming land of Ayrshire at that time saw them move to their new farm of Lochlee with better hopes and ambitions. But again, a combination of poor land, expanding family, saw William's finances stretched. From that period onwards, the latter years of William Burness were an unhappy mix of worry, hardship and failing health. Tied in with that was a long period of litigation regarding the lease at Lochlee. And on February the 13th, 1784, William Burness died from consumption with his family around him. The one thing he wanted to mention in front of all of the family was directly to Robert. And he said, "There is only one of you all I am afraid for." And these were the dying words of father to son. And so William Burness departed this life and is buried at the old kirkyard in Alloway. And it is fitting that today we can tell that story from its beginning in the Mearns to his grave in the old kirkyard at Alloway.